Okay, now I want you to do your homework before you go to softball practice, okay? All right. And be sure you watch the traffic on Greenback. All right. Okay, I love you, honey. I'll see you when I get home. All right, bye-bye.
Hi.
Oh, hi there. You ready to go to lunch? Let me grab my sandwich and we'll walk on over to the park.
Actually, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to eat in your office today, if it's okay. I really don't feel like facing the world.
Sure. So, what's Ted done this time?
What makes you think it's Ted?
Well, isn't it?
Kinda.
Oh, don't tell me that you guys have broken up again. Julie, why don't you guys just get married and get off this roller coaster you're on?
Well, we're just not ready yet.
Well, you guys have been dating forever. I mean, surely you must know by now whether or not you love this guy. Do you love him?
Yes, I love him.
Well, does he love you?
Yes.
So what's the holdup?
It's like I told you, we just don't want to rush into anything.
Oh, right. 4 years is hardly enough time to get to know somebody.
Besides, there's a new issue.
Oh, not another woman.
No.
Are you seeing somebody else?
No.
So what's the problem?
Trish, I'm pregnant.
Oh, Julie. Oh, I'm so sorry. Have you told Ted?
Yeah, he knows.
Oh. So, are you guys going to go ahead and get married then?
I'm gonna have an abortion.
What? You can't.
Why not?
Because it's not right, that's why.
Look, I don't know whether it's right or wrong, but I know that I have to get this abortion.
Have you thought about keeping the baby?
Yes, we're not ready to be parents. There's no way I'm ready to be a mother. Besides, I've got my job to think about. I don't see how I could balance
wait a
between
minute. You know, I have kids and I have a job.
Well, okay. But in case you haven't noticed, there's a big difference between you and me.
Like what?
You're married, and I'm not.
Well, so?
So, I'm a Christian, I'm single, and I'm pregnant. Those three don't go together.
Oh, right. And Christianity and abortion does?
Can't you just be my friend and not judge me?
Oh, Julie. I'm not trying to judge you.
No? What are you trying to do then?
I'm just trying to get you to think about this. I mean, you've obviously not thought this thing through. You're just going to run out and have an abortion because of some job?
How dare you? How dare you sit there and insinuate that this has been some lighthearted decision that I've made? It's been incredibly painful. I've been thinking and crying and thinking until my body aches. And I'm telling you, Trish, I don't have any choice.
Julie, that is not true.
Yes, it is. Look around. My friends, my coworkers would never accept me and my pregnancy.
You don't know that for sure.
Well, maybe not. But I'm not willing or secure enough to put anybody to the test. I just know that I would be labeled and I wouldn't fit in anymore.
Oh, Julie, you know that I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's why I'm talking to you now. I know you wouldn't, but I don't know about the others. Besides, it's not just my friends. There's my family. If I went through with this pregnancy, I could never face them. I don't know what would be worse, my mother's humiliation or my father's disappointment.
I think you're overreacting.
Trish, you don't know them. If I went through with this pregnancy, they would disown me. And I couldn't live with that. I couldn't deal with the rejection and the hurt. And then there's our church. Sure, they're quick to condemn abortion, but how supportive are they really when a single girl ends up pregnant? So now are you convinced that I've thought this thing through?
No. No, I'm not convinced.
No? Have you heard anything I've said? Or are you so moral and righteous that you have absolutely no understanding of what I'm going through?
I do understand what you're going through.
Yeah, right.
But there's something in all this that you have overlooked.
Oh, right, this sermon. Enlighten me.
There's the guilt. The guilt that you're going to have to live with for the rest of your life.
I don't believe this. You are a conservative, right-wing, right-to-lifer using guilt as a weapon.
Would you just listen to me? I've had an abortion. It was 15 years ago, before Craig and I were married. We were sexually active, just like a lot of our friends. Well, I ended up pregnant. We weren't ready to be parents, so I used my freedom of choice, and I had an abortion.
Did Craig know?
Yes. But we never really discussed it. I mean, like you, I pretty much had my mind made up to have an abortion. But the one thing that I was totally unprepared for was the guilt. Everybody just told me that it wasn't really a baby yet. It was just tissue. The pamphlets didn't mention guilt. The counselors didn't say anything about it. Nobody warned me that I was going to have to live with this shame for the rest of my life.
I had no idea.
It's not something that I want to talk about with people, especially my Christian friends. You know, abortion ranks quite a bit higher on our sin scale than lying or gossiping. It's a very lonely sin, one that I'm constantly reminded of. Everywhere I turn, it's in the movies, on TV, in the papers, and especially at church. When I see those signs that say abortion kills children, and I hear people talking about abortion as murdering babies, I just want to curl up and die.
Trish, I'm sure God's forgiven you.
Well, I believe that he has now. But you know, it took me almost 10 years to start to believe that. It took me that long to face God and talk with him about it. Yes, I know that God has forgiven me, and he's even forgotten about what I've done. But I doubt I ever will. You know, there are times when the pain is just as intense as it was 15 years ago. This is a scar that's not going to ever go away. But you know, Julie, I know that I wouldn't be this far along in my recovery if it wasn't for the fact that God does forgive and he does heal.
So, if you had it to do over again, would you keep the baby?
To be perfectly honest with you, yes. Yes, I know I would choose to keep my baby. It certainly wouldn't be easy. You know, you're right about people. They're going to blame you if you do, and they're going to blame you if you don't. But Julie, I want you to know that if you go through with this pregnancy, God's going to honor that decision. So will you think about it?
Yeah, I'll think about it. But what if I decide to go ahead with the abortion?
I'm going to be here for you. But if you decide to have the baby, I'll be here too.
Thanks. I'm gonna go. I've got some thinking to do. I'll be praying for you. Thank you.